Under the wide, fading sky of the American frontier, the land unfolded in a silent, majestic tableau. As the sun sank low behind the rugged mountains, a burning glow cast long shadows across the sagebrush, whispering ancient secrets in the dying light. In this timeless expanse, every rock, every tuft of scrub, and every gust of wind seemed to carry a memory. As dusk deepened, the landscape transformed into a canvas of muted hues. The gleaming silver of the last rays gave way to a cooler palette of purples and blues, while the silhouettes of vacant, weathered structures dotted the horizon like relics of forgotten dreams. The rustling sagebrush provided a gentle, rhythmic soundtrack to this quiet ritual of day transitioning to night. Every element in this desolate yet strikingly beautiful wilderness contributed to an atmosphere of both melancholic solitude and expectant tension. The subdued whispers of the past mingled with the present, forging an unspoken promise that the night would bring revelations and reckonings that could alter the course of destiny. Amid the interplay of light and shadow, one could almost sense that the ancient land was preparing. In this detailed panorama, the natural beauty of the frontier coexisted with the harsh realities of justice and betrayal. The land itself bore witness to old conflicts, and in the cooling twilight, its silence spoke louder than words. With a heart attuned to both the fierce solitude and the stirring call of destiny, one could see that the stage was set for an epic confrontation. Thus, with a gentle breath and a knowing gaze, the vast, untamed West welcomed the forthcoming drama, a drama steeped in mystery and driven by forces as timeless as the setting sun itself. In the quiet descending darkness, every detail of the scene invited contemplation, promising an unveiling of old rivalries and the precipice of a battle where honor would collide with the ruthlessness of a harsh new order. At the break of twilight, a solitary figure emerged on the horizon, a shadow slowly growing into form against the vast, empty backdrop of the frontier. Former U.S. Marshal Ben Cooper rode with the stoicism of a man burdened by both history and the relentless pull of justice. His horse's hooves drummed a steady cadence against the hard-packed earth. Ben's arrival was not just a physical crossing of territory, it signified the arrival of a reckoning long overdue. Every measured stride mingled with memories of battles past, a time when law and order were upheld against overwhelming odds, and guilt from past missteps haunted his every decision. The sound of the horse's clopping, the soft creak of leather, and the subtle murmur of the wind blended into a tapestry. The muted glow of twilight painted the town in an ethereal light, where every shadow seemed imbued with mystery and every corner held a secret waiting to be revealed. The oppressive reign of Silas Thorne had left an indelible mark on the land, a scar that time had not yet healed, and a promise of vengeance that simmered beneath the calm. In the depths of this struggling town, Ben found echoes of his own inner turmoil. His presence stirred whispers among the inhabitants who had long suffered under Thorne's harsh rule. In the silent gaze of wary faces, there was a spark of hope at the return of a man who might stand against the oppressive dominance of a ruthless cattle baron. With each step, Ben's intent grew clearer, a personal mission to restore justice to the land, to reclaim the stolen dignity of a community oppressed by corruption. In that moment, with daylight fading to night, the stage was set for a monumental clash between hope and tyranny. Each resolute hoofbeat carried the weight of redemption, promising that justice, long denied, would soon bathe the weary souls of the oppressed in radiant light and certainty. Deep within the town, shadows concealed secrets as old as the land itself. Beneath the worn facades and cracked sidewalks, murmurs of betrayal intertwined with the rustle of the sagebrush. The townsfolk moved with quiet caution, their eyes filled with stories no one dared to speak aloud. In whispered conversations behind closed doors, the legacy of Silas Thorne's tyranny was recounted in hushed tones. The narrative unfolded in quiet alcoves of the town, the creaking stairways of weathered homes, the corners of the dilapidated saloon, and along the barren pathways that had witnessed secret meetings. Every clandestine encounter bore the imprint of past conflicts, each moment layering the present with the ghosts of ancient wrongs. A once proud community, now muted by fear, carried its history on weathered faces and weary hearts. In the midst of this quiet turmoil, Ben Cooper wandered the narrow streets, his sharp gaze uncovering clues in every broken window and whispered sigh. The air itself seemed to tremble with suspense, holding its breath as if aware of the storm that was brewing beneath the surface. The town's silence was punctuated by the creak of a door or the rustle of fabric, a subtle reminder that every quiet moment might conceal a spark. While memories of past justice linked the faces of old residents with bygone heroes and fallen foes, it was the weight of history that made every step feel momentous. The rancor of old betrayals mingled with the hope of new beginnings, crafting a tapestry of intertwined fates. In dark corners of the town, emotions ran deep. Sorrow was etched in tear-streaked profiles, while determination shone in defiant eyes. In the heated silence of the brewing storm, the interplay of light and shadow sculpted a realm where destiny and doom danced together. The whispered codes of past generations flowed through the wind, urging the brave to rediscover honor and restore balance to the fractured land. With every investigative glance, every crack in the storied facade of the town, Ben Cooper pieced together the puzzle of corruption. In every hidden alley and silent street, the burden of history urged the town toward reckoning. Each forgotten secret resonated, reminding all that redemption demanded the unveiling of long-buried truths in solemn, steady cadence. In the burning glare of midday, the relentless sun bore witness to a confrontation years in the making. The dusty main street of the town, once quiet and resigned, now vibrated with the tension of an approaching storm. Every shift of the wind carried the unmistakable hint of imminent violence, stirring up clouds of grit and history. In this charged arena, fate had aligned the paths of Ben Cooper and the formidable Silas Thorne. As the duel drew near, the landscape transformed into a battleground where determination clashed with tyranny. The old town's buildings, scarred by the passage of time and conflict, stood as silent witnesses to the unfolding drama. Shadows stretched long in the heat, and the collective heart of the community beat in anticipation of the clash. Each echo of a distant hoof or the murmur of a gathered crowd signaled that the past was coming alive. The confrontation was not merely personal. It embodied the eternal struggle between retribution and control, freedom and subjugation. Every detail of the encounter was etched in the dust, the narrowed eyes of resolute defiance, the tense posture of a man who had seen too much cruelty, and the unyielding glare of a tyrant whose power had long ruled the land. Ben's weathered face, marked by both regret and determination, reflected a soul ready to confront old demons. The charged air between them seemed to hum with the energy of untold reckonings and long-buried grudges. The stage was set for a shootout that promised to shatter the stillness of the relentless heat and repaint the dusty street with the raw hues of rebellion. In the critical moments before chaos erupted, time itself appeared to slow, as if honoring the gravity of the impending showdown. Dust swirled in delicate patterns around each man. In an orchestrated burst of violence, the duel erupted like a tempest. Bullets carved blazing trails through the scorching air, their trajectories a defiant protest against oppression. The roar of gunfire merged with the howl of the wind to create an anthem of struggle. Amid the chaos, every movement of Ben Cooper was a testament to unwavering resolve, each calculated step steeped in the legacy of those who had fought before him. As night descended upon the frontier, the once tumultuous dust finally began to settle upon the battle-scarred ground. The aftermath of the showdown left the town in a state of reflective silence, where the echoes of violence blended with a profound sense of loss and tentative hope. The cool air carried the scent of spent gunpowder and fresh earth, a reminder that every act of defiance left an indelible mark on the soul of the land. In the hazy glow of lantern light, the faces of those who had witnessed the violent clash were etched with emotions too deep for words. The town, scarred by years of tyranny and wounded by the past, now faced the daunting task of healing. In the silent aftermath, every shattered window and splintered door told the story of a people who had known both the harshness of oppression and the fierce desire for redemption. Ben Cooper, standing amidst the remnants of chaos, bore both the weight of his own sins and the promise of renewal. His eyes, reflecting the twilight and the dust still dancing in the cool night air, carried the burden of past transgressions and the hope of a future reclaimed through sacrifice. He was a man molded by the relentless march of time, his every scar a testament to battles fought and ideals defended. The legacy of Silas Thorne, once a tyrant who had cast a long shadow over the lives of many, now lay in ruins. The mighty figure who had controlled the destiny of the land was reduced to echoes, his power dissipated like dust in the wind. His downfall was not a mere triumph of one man over another, but a symbolic end to an era defined by fear and ruthless exploitation of power. Amid the settling dust and the hushed whispers of the recovering town, The story of that fateful showdown became a legend, a narrative passed down through generations as both a cautionary tale and a beacon of hope. The intertwining themes of loss, retribution, and renewal resonated deeply within every heart, reminding the people that even in the wake of overwhelming adversity, the spark of the human spirit could ignite a new dawn. As the night deepened, a soft breeze stirred the lingering particles of dust, carrying with it the subtle promise that, while the scars of the past might never fully vanish, they could give way to transformative change and gentle rebirth. In that serene, reflective silence, the land whispered its enduring truth, that from the crucible of conflict and sorrow, justice, though often slow and unyielding, would ultimately prevail.